Welcome to the WildOhio podcast. My name is Abby Rodebeck, and I'm with my co-hosts,
Jordan Phillips,
John Kaufman.
Gentlemen, we have a very special episode today in several respects. Not only are we at the famed Natural Resources Park at the opening day of the fair, but we are joined by Ohio's 70th Governor, Mike DeWine, and Director of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Mary Mertz.
Welcome.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much. Beautiful day at the fair.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's also our first time ever doing video for the podcast, so this is the first time that our listenership is going to actually be able to put a face to the name.
Absolutely.
Right? Which will be beneficial. So Governor, when we are excited about this, and we were kind of talking about brainstorming some things that we would like to discuss with you, and I don't know if it's really general public knowledge, but you're an avid angler, and we do quite a bit of different fishing outreaches with you that we all really enjoy. So can you tell us about maybe a recent fishing trip you went on and what your favorite memory of that might be?
Well, the most recent fishing trip was what we call Fish Ohio. For those of our listeners who don't know about it, this was started by Governor Rhodes a number of years ago, 40-some years ago, to really promote fishing on Lake Erie. So we do that every single year, and we just came back last week. We did it one day, my wife Fran and I, and we had a number of our children and grandchildren. We've also added inland Fish Ohio. I grew up in southwest Ohio. My wife and I grew up in Yellow Springs. We're used to fishing in ponds and lakes, streams, a lot more than we ever did in Lake Erie. So we thought that we ought to advertise fishing all throughout the state of Ohio, not just on Lake Erie. We have just so many. Well, first of all, we have 76 state parks, and so we just have such amazing places to fish. And we have done that. This past summer, our Fish Ohio was in Indian Lake, and we did well there. It was a lot of fun. What you would expect, crappie, bluegill, some catfish, and it was fun. I have to tell you, when we did Lake Erie, I did not do too well. I ended up, I think, with one walleye. Wasn't a bad one. It was like 24 inches, but
okay.
one walleye.
Good grade.
One walleye,
we'll give that.
And I think we got another fish. I don't even remember what kind it was. I only had two. However, my grandchildren had several of my grandchildren on the boat. They certainly outfished me, but the person who really outfished me works for the Department of Natural Resources. And I haven't shared this with Director Mertz yet, but he was about 4 feet from me, or maybe 5 feet from me. And I counted, I stopped counting when he got to 30 fish.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
And so I'm sitting there, and I've caught, for a long time, 0 fish. And watching two grandkids catch a lot of fish, but watching Travis catch a ton of fish. So it's not that I'm bitter, Director Mertz, at all, but
In fairness,
I got no. He didn't even give me any tips. I mean, I thought, but I know this was tough competition.
It seems like an unfair ringer, being that he's our Lake Erie
Something is
fisheries
afoot.
manager.
Well, he was just beating me over the head. Let me just tell you, it was embarrassing, particularly in front of my grandkids.
Well, you mentioned the grandkids, and I know you have a passion to get them out fishing. What about that is so important to you, passing that information and just that institutional knowledge along?
Well, I fishing is generally, you can fish by yourself, you can fish any way you want to, but for many people, they grew up fishing as a family. The dad took them, the mom took them, both parents, an uncle, somebody took them fishing. And when I started fishing, it was my dad primarily and my grandfather. They both liked to fish. They'd fished a lot. They had for a number of years, before I came along, really, they had a cottage on Little Miami River, so they fished there all the time. And my dad and my grandfather built a pond, a lake. It was about 4 acres. There's a stream that ran into it, And so growing up, that's pretty much where I fished. I fished in the pond, and we had a great time. Probably the biggest fish though I ever caught was I was pretty young, and I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and we were at Kentucky Lake. And I hate to give Kentucky any, but I caught a pretty big catfish that day. So
I think one of my earliest memories fishing was here at the fishing pond. When I was a kid, I would always beeline it to the Natural Resources Park and do all the different activities that have happened over the years.
Yeah, it's great. We just finished doing some fishing with some of our grandkids. I would just say anybody who's listening to this, Ohio State Fair is just a great place to go. The natural resources area is shady. It's always cooler than any place else, and your kids, even little kids, can catch fish. The other kind of great thing they can do is learn how to kayak, and there's you don't have to worry. There's people in the water, work for ODNR, who are going to make sure that you don't tip over and everything's going to be safe. So I think a lot of kids are learning, at least get that kind of first flavor of fishing here. And of course, we always explain to them that it doesn't come as easy, other places than it does here. Yeah. But it does give them the thrill of catching a fish, and I've never seen a kid yet that wasn't excited about catching a fish.
Yeah, and you mentioned the flavor. There's also walleye samples and fish filleting station, so that people can learn what to do after the catch if they so desire, and try out some of that healthy and happy and good taste and protein.
Yeah, we had some of the bluegill, and the ODNR folks do a great job. You can watch them fillet the fish, and you can eat it, and it's really, really fresh.
I see you lighten up when you talk about bluegill. Is that the favorite kind of fish for you to eat?
That's what I was going to ask. What his favorite fish is?
Lake Erie. I know this is probably a grave sin, but perch I think are the the
we're
best
on the same
to eat.
page. I'll join you if that's a sin.
There's no better fish than perch. Bluegill I think is a great fish to eat. But as you guys know, the key is freshness, and about any fish is going to be good if you get it, you take care of it pretty quickly, and you get in some ice and keep it that way, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great.
Governor, I have a question for you. What is probably your favorite fish to pursue? Like if you're going to go fishing with your wife, what do you guys like to chase?
Well, look, I'm usually with grandkids, and Fran usually is in the other boat, so we have a little competition.
That sounds fun.
She actually got at the last Fish Ohio, she got the biggest walleye. So she was upset she didn't get a pin. This was 27 inches, not the 28.
Fish Ohio.
Yeah, but she did well. I mean, she beat me again.
Yeah.
So really any kind of fish. I mean, I fished some down when my dad was living, and when he and my mother had a place in Florida, we fished saltwater, did some of that. But because we usually have kids, I like kids to be busy. And there's no busier if you're hitting it right than bluegill or crappie. Yeah. Those are just you can't beat it.
Active bite.
They're just giving you action. Most days they're giving you action all the time.
That is a catch-22, because as a father, you sleep very well after those bluegill bites, and they get going. So I think we'll keep it with the Lake Erie kind of focus, but I would like to talk to you a little bit about H2 Ohio and all the projects and all the work that's been done with that. It's really been an incredible resource and done some really, really great things for the lake. So you obviously hold wetlands near and dear to your heart. I'm kind of curious, in the scope of wetlands, when you look at a wetland, what do you think? What's your favorite part about what a wetland is, or what it
I think wetlands are beautiful. I think they're stunningly beautiful usually. I also, when I look at them now, I know that this is a filter. It's a great natural filter. It's a place where you can, might see frogs. You might see all kinds of interesting things. And you mentioned H2 Ohio. it's kind of, I think, an interesting history. When I was running for governor, a lot of questions raised to me. What are you going to do about Lake Erie? What are you going to do about the algae bloom? What are you going to do about never being in a situation again, as we saw in Toledo, where they couldn't drink the water for a while? I mean, this is like not good. So what we did after I became governor, I started working with Director Mertz, ODNR, Ohio EPA, and the Department of Agriculture, our 3 departments. And we started having meetings with scientists and other people who had studied this. And we really went through a process. And our goal was to figure out what is the most cost-effective way to turn this algae bloom problem, the phosphorus going into the lake, around. And we did computer models. We did all kinds of different things. But we got the scientists together, and basically they came back once you do the computer models with really 2 things that we needed to do that were the most cost-effective. And one is wetlands. Create more wetlands, particularly in the Maumee area, particularly in that part going into the lake. And the second one was improve farming practices by our farmers up in that part of the state. And so we call this H2 Ohio. Someone on my team, it wasn't me, I wasn't smart enough to come up with that, but it sounded pretty good to me.
Pretty catchy.
And we came up with that, and so we kind of branded it H2 Ohio. And it really is it started off as 2 things, both aimed at Lake Erie. One, paying farmers, giving them the help so that they could more cost-effectively turn to better farming practices. And that covers a whole range of different things. Second was, we need to create more wetlands. We need to restore some of the wetlands we had. We needed just however we could get more wetlands, particularly in that area. As we went along, we thought, look, this is important for Lake Erie, but it's also important for the rest of the state. So we now are covering other rivers that flow into the Ohio River, for example, different ecosystems in the state, because it's important no matter where you live to have that dealt with and have good, clean water. The other thing we've done, particularly through the Ohio EPA, is work on, and I say work on because it's a work in progress, but the whole issue of our lead pipes. That's water, and it's water that people are consuming or using, and we have a ways to go. But we've made some progress. We first started at looking at some of our daycare centers and just tried to kind of pick off priorities, and that's still a work in progress, and we're continuing to do that. We've had 4 budgets now. The legislature has given us most of what we wanted, and so I thank the legislature. Very, very helpful. Could not have been done without the legislature. We are seeing results. We knew this was not going to be dealt with overnight. Hasn't been, but we're seeing results in regard to the phosphorus, the flow that's going into Lake Erie. And but we just have to keep it up. We have to continue to do this. We're going to, within the next several months, do another bringing scientists together. We did this actually in the governor's residence. We're going to bring them back to the governor's residence. We're going to get everybody's opinion and see, if there's any fine-tuning of this program that we need to do. I'm interested, candidly, in coming up with a permanent solution. I would like to do a bond issue that we would know would guarantee a certain amount of money every single year that would go through for some of the things that I've talked about. We could have other things, but the focus would be on the clean water, making sure all Ohioans have clean water, making sure that we keep our streams, our rivers, our lakes, Lake Erie, the Ohio River, clean, and make them healthy. Healthy is the word, and that's what we want to do.
And they are something to look at too. As waterfowl hunters, we really appreciate them for different reasons.
Yeah, the conservation aspect of H2 Ohio, clean water is phenomenal, but the conservation product that they also produce is amazing.
Ducks Unlimited, for example, likes what we've done. They've helped us, Director, they've helped us out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're our partners on a slew of projects and have been very supportive, and the habitat we've been able to create is very important.
Yeah.
So look, this is a win-win-win. I mean, I don't know who's against good water. I don't know who's against beautiful habitat, and whether you hunt or don't hunt, or whether you just like to see them fly. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, there's no losers really in this. And again, I think, it goes back to what our responsibility is. One of the things I said to the state legislature when I first gave my first Day of the State speech and talked a little bit about my first inaugural speech, I said, I'm going to be asking you to do things that we're not going to see the immediate results. But just as my parents and my grandparents planted trees, and particularly my grandparents, knew that when they planted a tree and they were in their 80s, they probably weren't going to live to see that tree get really huge. But that's what we're doing. It's kind of the same thing. We're investing in our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids who, great-great-grandkids who we may never see, but
that's
we're
conservation
that
and
for
leaving
them.
a legacy.
Yeah, you can't give up on it. It's got to keep working.
So you have like a clear commitment to conservation, and that stems over your entire term. And I imagine beforehand, what was there like a point in your life for growing up or when you were out fishing, like where you just were like, I want to have an impact?
Well, my wife Fran and I grew up in Yellow Springs, and I think there's a heightened sensitivity about nature. Glen Helen is there, 1,000 acres. Fran and I spent a lot of time, walking in Glen Helen. We went to school camp out there, 6th grade, 11th grade. Not far from Clifton Gorge, not far from John Bryant State Park. So all of these were right there. And when my parents and I, particularly when I was younger, when we went out on a vacation, we were either in a tent or later on we got a camping trailer, and so we were in a lot of the state parks, here in Ohio and some outside the state of Ohio. So I think just that exposure to the outside, kind of the culture that, hey, this is important. That was I think one of the things that teachers in Yellow Springs High School and the grade school. I mean, I think that's just part of the culture of the community.
How about Director Mertz? Where in your life can you point out or think of, wow, I really want to spend part of my career in the world of conservation and natural resources?
Well, I kind of chuckled because I also went to 6th grade camp at Glen Helen.
Oh, okay.
Different years, but I also had 6th grade camp at Glen Helen. So, yeah, I mean, growing up, I was not in Yellow Springs. I was in Dayton, but it's that area. And got outside a lot with my father, right? So he was an angler and a hunter, probably not an expert at either one of them, but we spent a lot of hours at it, a lot of time outside. Scouts, it just became a very important part of who I was, And professionally, I couldn't do that for a while, not until more recently, but it had always been part of who I was.
Well, let me just say, Director Mertz has done a phenomenal job. She has the real passion for this, and the older I get, the more I think that passion is just, one of the most important things there is. You got to want to do something. And she wanted to do this, and she's done a great job. Mary just mentioned about Scouts, which reminded me, some of my early camping was in Boy Scouts. And for a while, our Scoutmaster was an employee of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. So his name was Zarbuck, and he lived in Yellow Springs, and, he was a Scoutmaster.
Well, Governor, you may not know, Jordan there is leading up our efforts to put together a Scout Jamboree for next year. So we expect thousands of Scouts to arrive at Salt Fork State Park next year. 2026, celebrate the 250th birthday and have a fantastic jamboree. So that's in the works.
It's going to be a great event.
You should come.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Governor DeWine.
I'm sure the director will give me the date. So,
Governor DeWine, you've made it clear to Ohioans that conservation is important to you, and it seems like that love for Ohio and its outdoors is transcending through your family. So you have some kids that are working on some conservation projects as well, particularly your son?
well, we have one son, John, and John went to Miami University, majored in botany, and then got his PhD at Colorado State. And John lives actually where I grew up, and he's an organic farmer. He and his wife Michelle and family run Flying Mouse Farms, and they're organic farmers, and obviously they have a great love for the outdoors.
We like to do a thing. It's called a spark. So everyone, and it relates to, Mary's giving me some interesting looks on this one. So I told her there was going to be one. There's one out of the pocket.
It's not that scary.
So,
it's not.
It pertains to anything. So your spark bird, for instance, could be the first bird that you saw where it was kind of like, holy cow, what is this? The ornithology, and I'm so fascinated with birds. So I think I'd like to let John start, because we usually pick on each other.
So what are we?
What's your outdoor spark? What was it about the outdoors where it was kind of like, I'm going to dedicate my life and career towards recreation in the outdoors?
It has grown for me. We're going back to the spark. So it's the first thing. I used to squirrel hunt with my grandpa, and it was less about the hunt and more about walking through the woods. A slow walk through the woods with my grandpa carrying a single-shot shotgun. And we're sitting under some amazing species of trees that you can find in the state of Ohio, and I've grown to love trees through that. So that kind of started my liking and loving to be outside. And now it grows into, I make my kids learn the trees, and whether they get excited about it as I do or not. But
it's good
I
to
love
know.
being in the woods.
Abby, how about you?
Come back to me. What's yours?
Pawn that off.
So I think, and we're going to give another shout out to the state of Kentucky here, ironically, but when I was very young, I would go and visit my grandparents, and we would rent a houseboat on Lake Cumberland, and we would fish down there. And I think that first kind of introduced me to it, but I'll tell a quick little funny story. I grew up in the city, and in third grade, I got in trouble and had to sit down with my parents because on the way to school was like a 1 acre, like ephemeral little pool woodlot, not wildlife by any means, but it had plenty of garter snakes in it. And in third grade, I found myself trying to save the snakes for some reason and not making it to school. So I got to school about lunchtime, and they had to call the dogs off because they had finally found me on my way to school. So I think it was either between skipping school that I realized I love the outdoors,
Not a
or
surprise.
the fishing.
Not a surprise.
Director, do you have a spark outdoor experience?
I would say, so when I was little, and I'd go out with my dad, and he'd be busy not catching fish, fishing but not catching, and I'd be curled up with a Nancy Drew book, and we would both look out on the water, and we'd see all these sailboats. And so finally, we bought a sailboat together. And I think that kind of defined my relationship with my dad. And I've sailed for decades and decades after that. And to me, just cutting through the water, and it's silent, right? No, you got no motor going. You're just cutting through the water, and the wind, and the sky, and the air. And I think those are the moments I would call sparks. That's when I want to be outside.
Nice. Governor?
Okay, I'm not going to answer the question, but I'm going to use a segue, though. Segue is houseboat. So one of the fun things that we did, my parents at some point decided that they wanted a houseboat. I think my dad did, actually. And we had it down at Higginsport on the Ohio River. And it wasn't a real manufactured houseboat. Someone had taken a trailer and put it on. It was,
Ingenuity.
Two floats and an engine.
Yeah, but it was. But boy, it was a lot of fun. We had that done in my teenage years on into college, but to go down that Ohio River, it's a beautiful river.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And to pull up at night and tie up, and there you were out somewhere. It was just a great. We fished and caught fish there, but houseboat's a fun thing.
Agreed.
Abby, you're not
All
off
right.
the hook.
I'm not off the hook.
No.
I wish I had a story like Jordan's, but I never got a detention in my life, so no. I
That's
always
good,
made
Abby.
it to school.
One of those kids. I'd be like
I
my
am one of
wife.
those kids.
I can share a couple. I got more than one.
I think so. I grew up in the suburbs of the Columbus area, Westerville, and my mom and dad had 3 kids, and we were loud all the time. And so a lot of times they would take us to the parks, just the inner
So
city
you could be
parks.
loud there.
Yeah. Well, that was their way of trying to teach us to calm down.
Did that work?
No.
No. Okay.
But I do have very strong memories of Sunday mornings going out with my dad at Sharon Woods in Westerville. And I think maybe that's where it started and just sort of snowballed from there.
No, that's great. I'll take the segue from that about my dad. My recollection of going to the state fair. Somebody asked me this the other day. When do you start going to the state fair? And Fran and I, when we were dating and teenagers, we came up here several different times and saw whoever is in the grandstand. I think Andy Williams, that dates us, but a long time ago. Bob Hope one time. But my dad always was trying to beat the crowd, and so he would come up. We'd go to mass early, 7:30 mass. Then we'd head to Columbus, about an hour drive, a little more than an hour in those days, and be here pretty early on Sunday morning, and for the state fair. But the coolest place was the natural resources.
Obviously.
And so it was. I just remember seeing all the animals. It just seemed like this is really a cool place, and it's very different. My recollection is very different than what it is today, but it's still a very, very wonderful place as we look around here.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that these conversations we keep having about our sparks or what we enjoy and why we enjoy it keep revolving around our families. And that makes me want to ask you, Governor, that what can we do as Ohioans? What do you think is the best thing we could be working for to preserve and conserve these natural areas that we have in the state for generations to come? That is the mission of the Ohio Division of Wildlife. It's not just now, it's not just today, and it's not just us.
Yeah, look, first of all, we have a responsibility to take care of the infrastructure. I mean, people have to be able to go places, and we have to be able to account for people who want to, everything from people who want to sleep out under the stars to people under a tent to people under a motorhome to people who want to be in a lodge, and we've done that. That ODNR has that. Every one of our parks, we have all kinds of different options, and I think the investment in making it accessible. What we are doing in the Appalachian Hills area, our new big area in eastern Ohio. We're working on that. But I think really the most important thing, if you look at the real mission of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, it's the same mission we all have, and that's education. The parks, everything that we value will only be valued as long as our kids do and our grandkids and great-grandkids.
Absolutely.
And so that's exposure, that's education. There's some kids who grow up in a situation that nobody in their family fishes or hunts, and so I think some of the coolest things are the people around the state, and I've run into different clubs that have done it, other people who are doing it, who take it on as their mission to expose kids to fishing or expose kids to any kind of volunteer, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, I mean, anything that gets kids outside. We all know that, kids are looking at screens too much. We don't want to go down that long conversation today, but it's true. And the more we can get kids out, used to doing stuff outside, whatever it is, the more they're going to value being outside, and the more they value it, the more they're going to take care of it.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I do have a very important question for everybody here.
Okay.
Fair food.
Oh, we are at the fair.
What is your favorite? I'm a lemon shake-up person.
Okay.
Okay,
I will have them every time I come down for a shift.
Cream puffs from Schmidt's.
Schmidt's.
Or bratwurst from Schmidt's. That's hard to beat, but look,
for sure.
I was with someone this morning, said the greatest thing they ever had was the sirloin steak sandwich. But everybody's got a different
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. And one of the things that we're going to do next year, besides all the fair food you see out here, we're going to have trying to get some in one of the new buildings we're building, get some of the restaurants around the state of Ohio who want to come in there and for 12 days
Have
feed
a
us
booth?
some of their. Yeah, I mean, look, this is it's a very historically it's been a very ethnic state with a lot of different cultures and a lot of different foods, and showing people that food, giving them that chance is something that we're looking forward to doing even more next year.
Sounds delicious. Director Mertz.
So I look forward, okay, don't laugh at this, at the deviled eggs each year, right?
Yeah,
So they always have
yeah.
some crazy recipes.
Yeah.
Some of them are not my favorites, and I pass on them. I'm not sure I was really into the cotton candy deviled egg, but there's others that I think are great. So I always look each year to see what's going on there.
Cookie dough. I saw that one on the menu.
Cookie dough devil egg.
And
Yeah.
Takis. You know the
the spicy
thing,
Takis. Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
Okay, I have a question for the director. So I was talking to Michael Murray yesterday. He was talking about you can buy a whole sleeve of these. Is that right? They call it a sleeve.
You can get the sampler platter.
Sampler.
And you've got everything on there.
Yeah. Do you do that? Do you get the sampler?
Often, yes. I got to try them. You got to try them, and then you choose what you like.
How about you?
Me,
Good protein.
I'm a sugar guy, man. I'm sorry. Funnel cakes. I always love funnel. Anytime I come to a fair, funnel cakes.
I feel
We'll
like I
forgive
missed
you.
so much of my childhood because we never went to the fair.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a shameless plug in that my favorite fair food, since the director actually took what I was thinking, the dill pickle one from last year, by the way, was phenomenal in my opinion.
Is that a fried one?
No, it just it had extra dill seasoning
In
on
the
it.
egg?
On the deviled egg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I really like that one.
The
The cotton
egg is
candy
a-
one was a little suspect for me as well.
Did you try the dill pickle lemonade?
No.
It's
Yeah, that's a
Buckeye
big
this
no.
year.
No. So I'm going to say the bluegill bites at the natural resource
There you
area
go.
is what I'm going to
Yeah,
say.
let's
Bringing it
plug.
back.
The bluegill bites
The
are.
freshest fish you will ever
I'm
have.
telling
sure
you.
are.
And the best part
Absolutely.
about it is I get to stand there and watch someone else cut them up and someone else cook them.
And you get to
So
eat
it
'em.
just, it tastes glorious
should
when
go
someone
there
else is
after
doing
this.
this. I think I will.
Yeah.
Good
So
idea.
ODNR does a great job. Mary, you should plug the tacos, though.
Oh,
You guys do great tacos.
Yes.
We
yes,
appreciate
he's
that.
a big fan of that. We're trying to move that into some of our lodges as well.
Okay.
Because
Ooh.
that's such a dish I know you guys enjoy. I know a lot of people enjoy. So as we try to upgrade our menus in our lodges, we're trying to bring it there.
That's
So-
a great idea.
it's hard to cook for the mass consumption, but I really encourage you to try the white cheddar grits and Creole sauce that we have on
yeah.
our website. It is paired with walleye, and I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
I know
Find
it's
it
our
on our
favorite.
Wild
As-
Ohio
as-
Harvest Cookbook.
As long as Jordan doesn't throw the sauce away, it's really good.
It makes a lot of sauce,
Yeah.
and I've been known to try and
Good. It's very
So-
good.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today, Director Mertz, Governor DeWine. It was really awesome to get a chance to talk with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I want to echo that as well. So we're pretty excited. This has kind of been the best kept secret up until today. So we're able to do a lot of promotions here at the State Fair. This is our first, like we said, video recording of this as well. So word's getting out there. What are we, Abby? 27 states, 9 countries.
27 states, 9 countries.
So we're building a
Slow and
listenership,
steady.
but I think that this was a great way to really kind of officially announce this.
Our
to-
website went
to
up
the
today,
state.
too.
So
OhioDNR.gov/WildOhioPodcast.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. And for those who aren't watching it but can hear it, this is just a beautiful scene. The ODNR Park is a lot of trees, and we keep planting more. We planted one today.
just
So
planted a shingle oak.
We did.
Yeah, right before this, which is great.
So I learned where the name came from.
Oh, please do tell, because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I was told that the shingle oak was named, and it doesn't really look like an oak.
No.
Smooth leaves.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little different than an oak, but apparently that oak was used for shingle by some of the pioneers. And so
Oh.
make
Oh,
shingles.
interesting.
So yeah,
John, that sounds like how you'd name a tree, by the way.
It would be how we use it. Absolutely. I think a lot of them probably get their names from such things. Yeah. I have shingle oaks at the house. I have shingle oaks.
yeah.
So, well, thank you guys. Can't thank you enough.
you.
Appreciate taking the time.
Enjoy the rest of your time at the fair.
yes,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank
Yep.
you very much.